Hey, it's James speaking, trainingsites.io. Let's go live again. Google Gems, they just dropped something or added something on the 18th of September, 5 days ago, that I really think you should pay attention to because it opens up another huge opportunity for anyone who's trying to teach anything online, who's starting building their own education business, and really wants to get away from doing content dumps to being able to get people engaged using AI as learning experiences. So what am I talking about? What's a Google Gem? Why should I bother? What did they change that makes it so important? Well, hopefully we'll be able to cover that. I'll do my best to go through quickly. I want to just make sure that you know what a gem or a custom GPT is, which is kind of the ChatGPT version of a gem. And specifically, I want to talk about the one big change that Google made last week slash this week to be able to make it a much higher value for anyone who's in education space, whether that be to a business or a traditional student, that kind of thing. This is really cool. So let's take a look at how it works. We'll talk about it. And Again, if you have any questions or comments, put them in the comments below. Of course, give me a like and subscribe. And more importantly, if you haven't already, go to the trainingsites.io/join campus. All of my content, prompts, everything that I do is absolutely free there to go and join the community and get involved, sharing all of the projects that you are excited and passionate about teaching. So let's take a look on how this works. I'll show you briefly a custom GPT so that you see it. And then we'll look at the Google Gems, and I'm going to show you two new types of gems that move away from content creation to more about educational learning applications that are AI specific, that actually get the student or the course purchaser involved in your AI tools. So if you haven't seen it before, Custom GPT works like this. I'm in, let's do Custom GPT. I have one here, just an example for some output. I have one that basically goes and creates, let me open this up a little bit. Anytime I do a YouTube video, I do anywhere from 3 to 5 a week. I have to have a title for the YouTube video. I have to have a thumbnail text. I have to have a description. There's a whole bunch of things I have to have consistently for YouTube videos. And in the past, what I would have had to do is like save a prompt, explain what the video was about, what I wanted it to do, fine tune the prompt to get something a bit different. Now what I can do is I have this one custom GPT that I gave some specific instructions to so that I can just tell it, hey, I need a title and a thumbnail for this topic, generate them. And I wanted to make sure that they were good. So what I did is I said, you know what? I better make sure that it's scored based on curiosity, search engine, clarity. I gave it 5 different things. So in this example, just to show you what happened, is I opened up my custom GPT and I just said, create how to create a custom GPT for online classes. That was a topic I gave it. And it showed me the target audience to confirm it, keywords to focus on, and then it gave me 15 curiosity-driven YouTube titles and thumbnail text. So I got 15 different examples to start with. And then the best part is I had that scoring, right? I wanted it scored on curiosity, relevance, emotion, SEO, and clarity. And in my case, it went all the way over, and I don't have it minimized. Let me see if I can get it for you. Yeah, so I have a final score, 9.4. It's out of 10. So it does a rating for it for me so that I know which is the best one that I should use, which scale does it fit on, and I can start playing around. Remember, I can have a conversation after with these, a custom GPT or a gem. This is the AI tool, but it started off with a specific framework of a prompt to make sure that I had a consistent interaction with it. Now, this is a custom GPT. I can do the exact same thing if I'm in Gemini, which is the one that I've been using a lot more, specifically because Google has now started building in or entwining all of the Google tools that we've talked about. I did a video 2 days ago about the fact that the browser Chrome is having AI built into it in the next couple weeks. It'll start to roll out for us by the end of September. The next 5 or 6 days, it's going to start showing up in your Chrome browser. So Gemini is the browser. I did a video on that yesterday, 2 days ago. The one before that was all about the fact that Google Canvas, you can actually build apps just by natural language interaction, or basically talking to Gemini. This is the exact same thing, except it is for a gem, which is not an application. It is a much more um, structured way of having consistent outcome from a framework prompt that you've put together that you can pull up anytime that you want. And you can have as many of these gems as needed. And some of the examples that I did, I'm going to show you two, and I'm going to tell you why they're particularly important right now. And again, let me just open this one up here. Just we go. I just want to make sure I'm on the right window here. Make sure I'm on the. There we go. We'll open this one up here. So if you haven't seen these before, every time I do any of these videos, I put together a mind map just with the talking points and the kind of way that I go through this. And I also keep it in a folder with all of my research notes, the videos, the text, the markdown files, saved links. I put them in a folder. The reason is because I want to make sure that I have those digital assets that the AI tools can pull from when either I start using them or my students or course purchasers or the people I'm trying to teach need access to the grounding that I've done on the research and the work that I put together. So this is just an example of one of the things that I've done. And the thing with the Google Gems, I just want to show you, and this is why they're so important. You can now share your gems exactly the same way as you would a Google Doc or something in your Drive. So if you go and pick a gem, there's a little share button. You can share it exactly the same, where give someone, it's only restricted to someone yourself, someone internally to your organization, or you can make it available externally. So that means now that you can, not only use it yourself, but let's say you gave it to your cohort or someone who purchased a course, or maybe you're giving a class or teaching something specific that you have a framework set up for. You can now give this link to people and they can interact with your gems. So let's see how this works. And I have two examples. And I think, the other part just to kind of touch on here and why this actually works is that in the past, whenever, I've been doing this, using these gems, just like I did before, it was about creating content, right? I have a whole bunch of gems for creating, lesson content, or email marketing series, or social media content, or creating a quiz, or adding, a checklist or something like that. It's always about creating content. Now, the thing that is especially important here, and this works really well with Google, is that we can now move from having a gem that engages or has nothing to do with passive content, but actually gets the students involved in the AI, engaged using the actual tools. And when they're doing that, a couple neat things have happened, of course. The first one is that instead of learning about problem solving, as an example, they have to solve problems within the gem. They have to be able to communicate what it is that they want in terms of asking questions of the gem or responding to the gem when they're clarifying the ideas and actually working with it. And they have to make decisions. So these are all the skills that can't be taught by consuming information. These are ones that people actually have to get involved and engaged in. So those power skills are now available with GEM, and especially since we can share it with everyone else, we can give it to our customers or our course takers, and these people have to actually learn how to communicate, problem solve, and make decisions. And the best part is, I think for many people, is that this is safe and it's in a sandbox. So it's not something you have to do necessarily in public. You can play around and learn on your own. And it's personal and unique to you because you're the one communicating the responses and getting the questions and interactions back and forth to you. So completely flexible, easy to share, and it's easy to develop because all we have to do is explain whether a text prompt or just narrating what it is that we want to have happen in these particular examples. So I did two examples and I'll show you how those work and where I got them from. And again, these ones are all available for you in the Training Sites campus. So if you, again, haven't joined up on there, please go and do that. And let me just open a screen here and I'll show you where I got these from. I do have, I'll show you this one thing because anytime I create prompts now, not anytime, a lot of the times when I'm creating prompts that are ones that are important for where they're being used. It's not just like a question, it's something that I want to show a customer or I want to use actually in my business or in my course or any kind of training that I'm doing. For the most part now, I only use conversational prompting where I ask ChatGPT or Claude or Gemini, I ask it to give me the prompt that I need to use. And in this case, that's exactly what I did. I asked for it to create a prompt. Now, some people say, well, I have trouble trying to figure out the prompts for these custom GPTs or gems. So if you are stuck, I do have uh, I have 3 videos here that are free to you. They're little mini courses. This one is actually a custom GPT that creates instructions for custom GPTs. I have a beginner one and an advanced one, and that YouTube generator that I just showed you how to use. These ones are available within the campus. So I use ChatGPT or I use Gemini to basically create the prompts that I'm going to use. And that's exactly what I did in my first example. And what that one was is, I know a lot of times when when you're teaching something or you have a Zoom call or a cohort, you're actually interacting with someone trying to teach them something. You always want to give some kind of business case or an example of how it works. So here's one that I created for Gemini that allows me to have a case study spun up just in a couple seconds. What I did is I said, look, I want to be able to create case studies on any topic whenever I need one. And I want the case studies to be this kind of structure. So I've got a business case study generating. I can do it. Let's see, someone in the class or someone in the cohort says, well, how does it apply in here? Or my business is like that. Or I would use it this way. You can pick one of these up, spin it up, and remember you can share it now. So not only can you use it yourself as part of the actual class slash teaching that you're doing and work on it, but you can also give the same example to the student so that they can spin up examples and learn how to apply it. So here's one there. I just took the actual prompt and it had the background, the challenge, key data and information, internal notes, the student's task, the guidelines I had. So basically all I did is I copied this. I'll just do it in case I haven't done it in the past or I can't find it there. So let's do this one up. I'm just going to copy. So this is the for the teachers case study generator. Let me just copy that one. I'm going to go to Gemini, and the way that these actually get created, of course, is see where it says explore gems here. Now you should have this. I'm in I have a Google Workspace account, so Gemini app is part of that. I'm currently running right now 2.5 Pro. It works with 2.5 and 2.5 Pro. I just happen to be on this one. So gems should show up here on the left-hand side. I'm going to go explore gems. And in my case, we've got some examples that you can see as demos if you want to play around. But I'm going to go and I'm going to create a new gem. So I'm just going to click it. And I'm going to go give it a title. Now you have to give it a title here on this one. If you don't, that little blue save button won't show up. And then I'm just going to give the instructions that we generated or the Gemini generated that I should use. And in my case, I'm going to use these ones. I'm just going to click save and I'm going to have my gem created. Now there's a couple things to note here. The first one is at the bottom where it says knowledge. I can add files to the gem as a reference. Remember I said I was keeping all of my research notes, my documents, and my Google Drive? Those are things that are all available. This is exactly the same as Gemini, the app. I have the same rules, the same documents, all that stuff can be uploaded directly to this gem. So that any of the grounding or any of the instructions that I give can refer specifically, if I want, to the knowledge that I've provided. In my case, we don't have one right here. If I did hit add files, it would give me the opportunity to go to my drive and do it or just upload files. In my case, I've got the regular instructions. That's fine. I can just click save. Now, I will show you one other thing before I click save, is that if you get stuck, you can always edit these, and you'll notice when you come here and back to it, there's an opportunity to just use Gemini to help you rewrite it, which is a really cool tool. So I'm just going to click save. And there we go. I can start a chat, and I also have the share button, which I mentioned, but I'm just going to start a chat and you can see how this works. So I want to do or spin up a case study that I can actually do live with someone. I have this gem. It's on the left-hand side, so it's saved. I can use this anytime that I want for any topic. So in my particular case, I'm going to use, what's an example that we can use? What a local, do I want to do a local business? No, I don't want to do a local business. Let's do um, um, I'm just going to say, I'm going to provide a web copy writing service for consultants and small businesses. Yeah, you can put anything you want in it. I just did that. So here's what's going to happen. Based on the prompt that I got generated, it's going to create a case study. Now, as a teacher, I can use this case study anytime I've got a gem set up. I can use it anytime that I want. Uh, it's easy to use in one class. It's easy to use anytime. But I've got now the narrative and all of the steps that I have. So I can give this to the students, or I can just use it as the person that's there. So if you want to give and let them use a case study, you can basically do that and take a look and apply what it is that they're learning with this particular example. And you can see this is detailed. It's got the landscape, all of the things you would normally have to do if, in my case, it was an example of it. You were being the gem was about being a business consultant and helping grow a particular business. I just gave the type of business as a consultant. So landscape, internal notes, the student's task is right here. So this is what you're asking the student to do. Now, the part with this one is when you look at this, you go, well, that's great, James. I can create some kind of, use case study. I can spin that up. That's, it's nice, but there's nothing really special about that. And as much as, this is something that can be do, or maybe you can do already with a different prompt that you've used, or maybe you do have a custom GPT. I want to show you the big change that I think is the one that's important. And this is a follow-up from what I was talking about when I'm talking about building apps and having Gemini directly in the browser. Because you have to remember that the students or the course purchasers that you're talking to now, they're using AI. You can't stop them from using it. They have it in their browser. They're building their own apps. How are you going to make it special? Or how are you going to control how it gets applied? And that's, I think, the interesting part here with these gems, because you can share them. If we just go and take this example here, I have a second example. What I did is, make sure I'm in the right one here. Yeah, so here's one here. What I did on this one, I'm just opening it up so you can see it. What I did on this one is I said, well, what about if we created a gem for the purpose of the gem was to give it to the students or the person that has purchased the course. So this isn't for us as a teacher. We're creating gems that we can distribute and actually have the people that are learning and are taking the course be involved in and using AI, but be involved in this little gem / application so that we're focusing them on the specific application of what it is that we need to teach them. And this is, I think, the big change that is available now, because not only custom GPTs, but gems can be shared and they can be grounded based on your information and guidelines that you provide. This is a huge opportunity to not have to be a lecturer again, or be able to create content, but more important, have a learning experience that people can get interested in. So this one I did up, it's students interactive case study. So I did one up as a bookstore challenge. Again, you can change it to whatever that you want. And basically I set this up, and I'll just go through. It's a role-playing simulation. So the purpose is to engage the student in a business case study by acting as if you're the main character. So think of this as, instead of going and doing a test at some business, you've now got someone that is acting as the business, interacting with you in real time while people are working on it, and you have to apply all of those things that you maybe have been taught, or you can reference using AI and apply it in a unique situation. So it's giving a persona. In this case, it's about Alex, who's technically hesitant owner, for example, struggling loan book. Interactive process. So it's basically setting up what the student has to do with this simulation. The introduction tells begin the conference by introducing yourself as Alex. And then sometimes, we'll put this in information discovery. The student has to do this. So do not provide all the business data at once. Wait for the student to ask specific information. So this is using a more natural, decision-based, engaging, interactive with a real customer live and in real time. Socratic analysis, so guiding questions, brainstorming and feedback, action plan and conclusion, and then the knowledge base that you basically created. So if we go and we paste this in, and I think I already did this one, but we'll try and see what happens. So on this one, I'm just going to copy that one. Let's see if I did this one before. Yeah, here's the one I did. As I put it in here and basically created this gem, and it's hello, show thinking, and then can you tell me about your business history? How long have you been in business, etc. So I was basically having an interaction with it and playing around with it, which is super, super cool. And you can go through, and at the end of that, you've now given the student or the course purchaser a real interaction experience with what it is that they need to do. So again, it's not a content dump. It's not about content. It's about a learning experience that you can create as quickly as you need, as fast as you can with a gem, and now share with students. So if you're selling a course, let's say, for example, you make a private link that is hidden except for people who have purchased a course. You basically give them the homework, not of regurgitating some content, but actually going and doing the actual interaction with someone that you've created. How did they do it? How did they apply? What are the things that got generated at the end? What was the result? And basically have them say, hey, you could have it printed out and say, hey, create a document of our conversation and the suggestions that were made by the student slash course taker. So there's a whole bunch of different ways to do that. And I guess the best part is when we're looking at this, let's say we have built one and maybe we don't want to do a book anymore. So if I go back and I go and select, let me see if I can make sure we're on the right screen here that helps. Yeah, so if I go back to Gemini and I see explore gems again, and if I click that, you're going to see that it always shows some pre-done ones, and then it has my gems, right? And it says your shared gems are saved in the Gemini Gems folder in Google Drive. They're saved in Google Drive, so we can share these, share the link to them, and they're protected by Google Drive permissions. I got that. But here's the cool part. If I go and I have the Students Interactive Case Study Generator, if I want to, I can edit this, and then I can go in, and in my case, I can go and make any of the changes that I want in here to change it and say, hey, this isn't what I wanted. I want it to not be about a bookstore. I want it to be about that. I can add anything that I want, and I can also start adding to the knowledge base, which is there. So at any time when you're playing around with these ones, it just gives you the opportunity to update. And if I go back, hopefully we go back to the right page. Yeah, you can see that I can also share it from here directly. So preparing to share, and again, it's just the same options that you would do, whether you want it anyone with the link, someone in the organization, or you particularly. Copy link, and now it is shared. This is a really cool approach, I think, to actually teaching people. And again, I'm of the firm belief that any of the courses slash teaching slash content that I'm trying to generate moving forward requires that the person that is taking the course or learning from me has to use AI to basically do the step in the process. I think everyone's going to be using it anyway, so trying to hide it or keeping it away from people doesn't make much sense to me. But I would sure like to be able to guide them on a particular path based on all of my 40 years of experience doing all of this stuff online for 30 years of it. So I want to be able to help, and I'm sure that you do too, and not trying to hide AI from them, I think is not something that's at all possible. And it's even going to get harder moving forward. I know the video that I did yesterday, again, if you haven't seen those before, make sure to, I think it'll probably come up at the end of this video, but go check them out because I did Google has AI built into it. And I also had Google has apps that anyone can teach. Anyone who's teaching or creating courses create their own apps. This is just another one. This is GEMS. And this whole space is making it really cool for anyone to start building, growing education, but business, but more importantly, for you to get some really great learning experiences out to people that you're trying to help. So I hope you enjoyed it. It's JamesTradingSites.io. Like and subscribe, all that good stuff. And if you think this is full of it, it doesn't make sense, put a comment below. I'd love to hear for it. Of course, join the campus as well. Take care. Expect the best.